and groups. I'm a little late because I had to run to the bathroom really bad. But mostly today, who's gotten together, all of us, is the Discord group Transgender Madison, not to be confused with Madison Area Transgender Association. I say that because I did do that. I am new to the city, so I got a little confused. But I am so glad my friend came up here and spoke today, Sunshine. Thank you. Yeah. Because today I wanted to highlight POC more than anything else. Because over 3/4 of the people that are always counted for these days are people of color. And there's another epidemic that is significantly close to the trans women that we have die all the time. Whether or not they're reported, like many of us aren't. And if we are misgendered, dead-named, and not recognized as transgender or non-binary. And that other one would happen to be the missing, murdered Indigenous girls, women, and Two Spirits, which I am speaking today because I am part of the Indigenous community as well. I am from the Menominee and I'm a Two-Spirit. Even here in Madison, it just draws silence from other natives. They have a hard time still reaching the point of acceptance because of all the things that have happened to our community. And honestly, I'm going to say this. Transphobia is a construct of colonialism. Homophobia is a construct of colonialism. And the more and more I look back into histories, the more and more I look back towards my ancestors, the more I know that. So today I wanted to make sure that we are the people of color in our community. Because not only is it Homeless Awareness Month, Transgender Awareness Month, it is also Native American History Month. And even in a month dedicated to our communities, we're still not talked about on a regular basis. And honestly, I was going to have a much better speech today, but it has destroyed my health. Because between the shootings that happened last night, in response to today, and digging through my history, and digging through the history of the names that we're going to be speaking today, it has done nothing but just drag me to sadness. So every single day, I've been trying to put this together for the last 2 weeks. I've gone to bed in tears. And today is going to be no different. And I'm sure for a lot of us, it'll be the same. When it comes to the event that happened last night, it's obviously very disappointing, but it happens on a frequent basis, and it's happening more and more in the open. And I don't know if that really changes anything. I think these are events that have always happened. That's why we say 3/4 of our deaths go unreported. And that's just a rough estimate. So now that it's moving more into the open, does that mean things behind closed doors are coming to light? Or is it a general rise? For the missing and murdered community, for the Indigenous community, I know for us, it'll likely be what's coming to light. Because every single time I read into one of those stories, for the Indigenous community, I read that it was all these federal treaties and agreements and quote-unquote trust that we're supposed to have with the federal government that are betrayed. We are supposed to be able to have these incidents when we report them. If we suspect that they're done by somebody outside of our communities or off our reservations, that they're investigated by federal police, by FBI. They're not supposed to be swept under the rug like they are consistently done. And the reason why is always because it's one of us that are hurt. It's because it's one of us that were affected. So the federal government always deflects back on our own sovereignty that they deny us on a constant basis. It's one thing to say that the states shouldn't get involved, but to say that we have a trust with the government is completely asinine, to say the least, when we actually have a need to call on them. If we hear back from them, they tell us to go fuck ourselves. That we have no reason to be contacting them, essentially. Even though that is what they'll consistently tell us that we need to do and that we're supposed to do and that they're supposed to be there for us on that. And they never, ever, ever show up. And that's the same thing that happens to every single person when it comes to that's not cis heteronormative, honestly. Just like with that club shooting that happened last night. And whether or not they were going to attack, whether or not they were going to hold the drag race, or drag performance, I should say, at that club for today, because they're an LGBTQ aligned club, there was still the chance that they were going to end up being shot up. Every single day, organizations that do align themselves with the queer community are worried that they're going to be attacked just as much as the community themselves. Even if they're not ran, owned, and operated by the LGBTQ community, the fact that they're in alignment and support, they still face the same kind of hate that we do. And honestly, it's always sickening. And I'm not surprised that the last couple of days, Transgender Madison and various people that know us, we have been taking down posters and photographing it for each other because we've been noticing that there's been a rise of people using transgender advocacy, their logo, to spew hate. Recently I took down a flyer that said that you need to sterilize your gender non-conforming children before they kill themselves. That's the type of thing that these hate groups stoop to. Even when they're not physically harming us, there's always a consistent psychological warfare. And that is something that everyone here can help battle for each other, is because we can always be here for each other. The psychological warfare is lessened when we're together as a community. It's not that it's going to go away, but its impact will have a change. And that is why we wanted to do this today. Now, I'm going to need a moment to regroup myself, honestly. So we're going to have a little change probably in our speaking in names, which I think we'll go into next. Because honestly, I'm getting extremely choked up, and I actually think the other speakers are still hanging photos, so just give me a moment. If someone wants to come up and speak in the meantime, that's completely all right.
Thank you.
I'm gonna read a poem. I'm gonna take my coat off because I want to show y'all my outfit. My dress says Black Trans Lives Matter. Black trans lives matter.
Black trans lives matter.
Black trans lives matter.
Black trans lives matter.
Stop killing us. This poem is called I Am Somebody. I am somebody. I may be black, I may be white, but guess what? I am somebody. I am somebody. I may be rich, I may be poor, but guess what? I am somebody. I am somebody. I may be an immigrant, I may be a citizen, but guess what? I am somebody. I am somebody. I may be a man, which I ain't. I may be a woman, which I am, but guess what? I am somebody. I am somebody. I may be black, which I am. I may be white, which I ain't. But guess what? I am somebody. I am somebody. I may be straight, which I ain't, because I tried that shit once and it didn't work out. I may be gay, which I am, but guess what? I am somebody. I am somebody, and y'all are somebody. And together we can succeed in changing this fucked up world. Rest at peace. My name is Sunshine Rainbow, also known as Sunny Ray. or Sunshine Rain, or Sunshine Ramon. And my pronouns are she, her, they, them, queen, and goddess. Nothing else. If anybody decides to fuck up and misgender me, you might fuck around and find out. That nobody got time for that. People disrespect me all the time and misgender me because they think that I'm a man because I have a beard. No, I'm a woman, and a woman have beards too, and that's O fucking K. Honestly, my brain is full of a lot of thoughts, anger thoughts, happy thoughts. Like, I'm happy to be 27, but I'm angry at this fucking world. I'm happy to be alive, and I'm happy to celebrate my birthday, but at the same time, I'm sad and angry because this world is so fucked up. I'm sad and I'm angry, and every year that I celebrate my birthday, I take a moment to remember all those trans people that we've lost. I take a moment to remember my ancestors who helped me get to this point that I am at my life today. Marsha P. Johnson is one of those people who helped me become the person who I am today. Marsha P. Johnson, when I look up to the sky to find guidance, I look up to my grandmother and Marsha P. Johnson and all those trans women before me. And I look for inspiration and I find it within them. And now I'm that person for trans people in the world now, for young trans people in the world. I live my life for myself, but I live my life being myself so that other young trans people can see me being myself and know that it's okay for them to be themselves. And it's okay. This is why I didn't wear makeup, because I knew I was going to cry. It's okay for them to be themselves, and it's okay for them to be who they are. Anywho, I'm done talking for now. And if you want to celebrate my birthday with me, you can come to my show at the Brick Lounge on the 26th at 7 p.m. Doors open, show starts at 8 p.m. and it's going to be a great show. If you want to celebrate with me, come out and get to know me a little bit more. Love y'all.
Sorry. Oh wait, someone's speaking. You haven't seen Alexandra. She was here. She has what she wants. She's supposed to be names. Hey.
Where is it? Yeah, there we go. Hi.
Yeah.
Is it Spanish grade? No, but I won't.
I hope in Puerto Rico.
Okay, specifically the names that you would need to ID are this list here.
I'd like to say a few words about the challenges that are faced
Can
by
do that.
transgender Latinas.
Memorially.
5 of those whose names will be read today were Latinos. Latina transgender adults face numerous struggles at higher rates than others. For one, we suffer from poverty at a staggering rate. According to a 2019 analysis, 48% of us are living in poverty. The effects of poverty extend into all aspects of a person's well-being, including food insecurity, housing insecurity, reducing the likelihood of health coverage, increasing the likelihood of avoiding the doctor in order to save money. And making matters worse, 1 in 4 Latina transgender women are living with HIV. We also face increased difficulty voting. According to the HRC Foundation's 2019 voter experience study, 34% of Latina transgender adults found themselves dropped from voter rolls. 63% were either ineligible or chose not to vote due to ID requirements. And 70% were unable to vote due to logistical barriers such as inconvenient polling times and locations.
for child care duties, issues requesting, receiving, and/or returning their absentee ballot on time, etc.
Basically, it's sort of like this.
And it's important not to forget that transgender Latinas living in Puerto Rico, like all who live in Puerto Rico, have no voting representation in Congress and are not permitted to vote for presidential elections. The living situation for Latina transgender youth can be particularly challenging. For one thing, due to the role of the family and extended family in Latina culture in daily life, as well as the role of religion. Trans feminine individuals, in particular, face harmful cultural norms revolving around machismo. 45% of Latina transgender youth report having been taunted or mocked by family members. 64% have not come out to their extended family. To close, I'd like to read a poem by Raquel Salazar. He's a non-binary Puerto Rican and poet laureate of Philadelphia who writes in both Spanish and English. This poem is titled Stay. What do we eat when a name dies? Yesterday your mother stopped by because she didn't recognize me as your friend's friend, the previous one. What is that about, having a dead friend on the wall with a picture of his next to? Have you seen my son? He's short and looks good as a see. My short hair isn't professional. Your long hair doesn't prepare you. Between the two of us, let's figure out how to speak for Remembrance. It's difficult to count the days since the last time we went out. What is that about? Going out and not having to explain you aren't that her or that thing. In this, our language, there exists no plural that doesn't deny me. Our language is Spanish. Ours is never quite mine. No.
Oh, someone.
What's up?
I don't know if they're speaking. Are you speaking?
No, you guys look. Oh, she's sorry.
Okay. Come on up. Okay.
Y'all going up? I think we're in time. We don't want to crowd the stage.
Sorry about the little bit of delay. Again, we have changes in the names, like the reading and everything, so we're just figuring that out. No. Apologize, it's all getting lost in the chat. Hey, could you come up here and help me for a second?
Yeah. Sorry.
You good? No pins, right? I think it was the wrong channel. There it is. Okay. Okay, nice. Yeah. You should get them up here too. Okay, so one of the things that's going to be changing is one of the people that I'll be naming is going to be named under somebody else who's taking up a bunch of other names. So I guess while we figure that out, I'll read some of the notes as well. The notes that I had mentioned was approximately 2/3 of the murders are shown in 2021 reports are done by someone that they know. Family, friends, lovers. Intimate partners are accounted for 23% alone. Tragically, interpersonal violence accounts for a significant number of fatalities against transgender and non-conforming people. A report by the HRC Foundation in Epidemic of Violence 2021 found that between 2013 and 2021, that this was the statistics that they found. According to the 2017-2019 Transgender Homicide Tracker, 3/4 of confirmed homicides against transgender people have involved a gun. and nearly 8 in 10 homicides of black trans women involved a gun. Further, advocates saw a 43% increase in the formation of anti-LGBTQ hate groups in 2019. In addition to the incidents of fatal violence that we track each year, HRC monitors several concerning deaths of transgender gender nonconforming people where the details are unclear. We call for further investigation into these cases, which are currently standing at 14, 7 of which occurred in 2021, which we will be listing today. And for anyone in our Discord, we will provide the links to all these resources, which you can find on HRC. But to start off the names, I am going to be reading four people that are black, and I guess I will go with you. I'm going to take Maddie Hoffman, Landon. So, Maddie Hoffman, she's an Asian transgender woman. She was born in Korea and raised here in the U.S. through adoption. She died at age 47. Then we have Samaj Blinsley, 33, black. Dee Dee Ricks, 33, black. Sean May Giselle Marie, 27, black. Neola Parker, black. Martizia Richmond, 30, black. Janlika Yayala Diar and Hemingway, 30, black. And then lastly, the one that hits me the closest is AC Morrison. She is a two-spirit. I believe that they said that AC was feminine aligned, but AC was 30 when they had passed. And I know I mentioned before that I wanted to speak a little bit about two-spirits and, Indigenous communities. And I think it's important for us to talk about Indigenous people today. I've been noticing that we have been noticing more of our two spirits as well being counted into these names in recent years. And we still have a lot of people who are not sure quite what a two-spirit is. So the two-spirit term is a direct English translation of Ojibwe gender identity. It comes from their actual words, and in their society, two-spirit means person with both man and woman spirit, both equally within a person. They have multiple different types of ways to explain why in their folklores, and there's many other gender identities within just Wisconsin alone. And it's part of the revitalization processes that we're going through to reclaim our identities. So, I was trying to have them here today, but unfortunately that has been significant on my mental health, like I said. But the most important thing to note is that the two-spirit term is a pan-Indigenous term. We collectivized with it in the 1990s as a way to take back our identities, our sexualities, and our spiritual, not just our identity, sexuality, but in our gender, in a more spiritual way, to directly have something to represent our communities that are not here with us anymore. And historically, they have been some of the bravest people. Not only have they been caretakers when in need, excellent spiritual guides, people very well known with medicines, but they have been ferocious warriors, and they have faced some of the most horrendous deaths in our community, particularly during early colonization. I won't speak about it because honestly it's really tragic. But hopefully we will start seeing more of independent identities coming forward. And I also really need you to know, somebody that is a two-spirit, that this is not a all-encompassing LGBTQ term. We have a lot of other terms, if not lost in the past, something now that we can say. Two-spirit is a gender identity, and it's more closely aligned to basically agender and bigender at the same time. It's a gender identity, and closer to the non-binary community, but it is also a transgender identity. So when we look at the Trans Remembrance Day, we still need to account for our indigenous siblings as well. Same thing with our black siblings. And that'll be it for me. I'll pass it off to the next person.
Obana.
There you go.
Yes, you're going to be real.
Hi, I'm Lynn. My friend Andrea. Yeah.
I'm just going to get into read names because
Holy moly, I hate reading in front of people. Tiffany Banks, 25, black. Regina Maya Allen, 35, black. Maddie Hoffman, 47, Asian. Kitty Monroe, unknown age, black. Ray Muscat, 24, white. Hayden Davis, 28, black. Matthew Angelo, Sven Pinato, 21, black. Aaron Lynch, 26, white. Candy Reed, 29, black. Sherry Bush, 48, unknown age, unknown race. I do want to point out that Sherry Bush was homeless, so that's why we know her very well. Fern Feather, 29, white. Naomi Skinner, 25, black. Mikhail Davis, 33, black. This was the 50th death of 2021. Mikhail died after November 20th, so that's why we remember her name. Died by gunshot in the street, and her birthday passed just 1 week before. Duval Princess, 24, black.
Mari Lee, 20, black. Zanaya Williams, 21, black. Marisela Castro, 40, Latina. Paloma Vasquez, 29, Latina. Cypress Ramos, 21, Latina. Martina Caldera, 38, Latina. Sasha Mason, 45, Latina.
Keisha Chanel Getter, age 26. Nitro Sequence Horse, age 50, black. Ariana Mitchell, age 17, black. Kenyatta Kesha Webster, age 24, black. Catherine Katie Newhouse, age 19, Asian. Tatiana LaBelle, age 33, black. And from 2021, the 33rd of the year is Nikki Toretta, undeclared. With that is our names for this year. I would now like to close out the event and leave the floor open for anyone who would like to speak. Please come on by and share whatever you would like to share. We're all here to process together. Thank you. And if anyone needs anything, stay warm, drink, anything. There's a table right over there. Please help yourself.
Thanks.
Thank you all.
Hi, this is kind of off the cuff because I had not originally planned to speak tonight.
Some of y'all know me. My name is Corrigan. I use he, him pronouns in community, or they, them. Cis people, I just ask to use they, them because they look at me and they think cis women. They do not think like femi-trans math person, which is what I actually am. I lived in Madison for a long time, but for the past 3 years, I have lived in Milwaukee. There were 2 black trans women murdered in Milwaukee this year. And I did not know either of them, but I had the honor to attend the memorial for Brazil Johnson. She was young. She was only in her 20s. She was shot. As far as I know, they've never identified who shot her. And, okay, so one thing that the people who attack our community, specifically the gender fascists, aka Turks, like to say is they like to claim that anti-trans hate crimes don't happen. They really believe that. They really say that. Bullshit. It is bullshit. And you know, one example of it being bullshit is what happened to Brazil Johnson. I want to give a content note for extreme violence. Reportedly, this was according to somebody who spoke at her memorial, the person who murdered her cut off her genitals and put them in her mouth. You do not fucking do that to somebody if it is not a hate crime. That is a hate crime, and it happened in our state, and it happened this year. This is still happening. Members of our community are still dying. Her homicide was hardly reported. I found out about it through a Facebook event. This was a murder of an innocent woman in my community. And it got almost no notice because she was a black trans woman, and I believe she was poor. And people on the margins of our society, for reasons of gender or race or economic status, get treated like trash. It's heinous, and it's still happening. And it's getting worse. I hate to say this, but it is getting worse. I believe that this year was actually the deadliest on record for black trans femmes. And I know I am a white person, and I'm speaking about this, so I may be speaking out of turn, and if I am sorry. But I see a lot of other white faces in the crowd tonight, and we need to step up for our black and indigenous and other people of color trans siblings, because they are at higher risk than we are. We need to make sure that this does not keep happening. And one thing that we need to do is when people normalize the discourse of gender fascism, we need to shut those motherfuckers down. Do you all know that in Madison have held 4 different hate speech events in Madison alone just since April? Just since April.
How have those been going for them?
We've been shutting them down. A group of friends and I and some other comrades have been traveling around the Midwest. We've been shutting them down in Chicago. We've been shutting them down in Madison, and we shut them down in Milwaukee, and in Milwaukee they have not come back. What helps is for people to show up in numbers, and for people to make noise. And for people who are trans misogyny exempt, like me, that means trans masc folks. It means folks who are read as like feminine presenting or assigned female at birth. It means cis men, and it means cis women. Show up and stand between the TERFs and trans people who are not trans misogyny exempt. Stand up and stand between gender fascists and trans femme people, because they are here first and foremost to hurt our trans femme sisters. When you hear about this kind of thing, stand up. Make sure that they know that the hate speech is not okay, because hate speech is the first step toward normalizing anti-trans violence. The rhetoric is escalating, and if we can stop some of it while it's still rhetoric, we might be able to save some lives. We might not directly be able to stop a murder, but maybe we can stop someone from getting to the point where they think that it's okay to murder a trans person? Please, when you hear about these events, turn out. Shut the hate speech down, and maybe, just maybe, we can keep fascism from escalating and keep violence against, especially our trans feminine sisters of color, from escalating. I don't want to find out that 2 more trans women of color are murdered in my city next year. I don't want that to happen. I don't want any trans people to be murdered in Milwaukee next year. Let's remember our dead and let's fight like hell for the living. Thank you.
Make me an instrument of disturbance. Where there is complacency, let me sow hunger. Where there is apathy, let me sow craving for justice. Where there is ease, let me sow striving. Where there is false neutrality, let me sow righteousness. Where there is laxity, let me sow rigor. Where there is submission, let me sow dissent. Where there is atrophy, let me spark growing pains. Among familiar and housebound imaginations, let me paint alien landscapes. Where there is euphemism, let me offend. Where truth is inconvenient, let me annoy. Where there is fences, let me ask why. Grant that when perfection halts progress, I may step forward to make mistakes. Grant that among quietly conquered people, I may sow whispers of rebellion. May we be disturbed. For it is from tilling that we harvest, leveling that we build. It is by pain that we notice a disease, and through struggle that we build our salvation. Where blindness soothes, let me unsettle. Where order harms, let me disrupt. Where structure holds captives, let me destroy. Where men remain unsullied, let me plunge my hands into the dirt and begin to live.
Hello. It's me now. Who am I? That's a good question. My name is Tesla or Jade or both. It's actually both. I am a trans woman. I'm a white trans woman, and I'm scared. I'm scared for my sisters. I'm scared for myself. I'm scared for the future. I'm scared of the normalization of rhetoric that isn't just words, and the idea that the terrible things that these people say about us, about me, about my sisters, about all of these people, it's ridiculous. It's hard to put into words without hearing it firsthand. So I'm involved with trans advocacy medicine. I do that sort of stuff, which just involves a lot of, helping support these type of amazing events that really bring the community together, and we love it. It's amazing. Sorry, I'm feeling emotional right now. I must be the only one. No, but yeah, that was a really moving set of speakers. It was incredible. Yeah, I guess I just want to say that we can do better. That this isn't normal. That when trans people are killed, when trans women are killed, when black trans women are killed, this isn't normal. This is the pattern that's happening for a reason. It's happening because of the intersections people find themselves at, of the racism that's poured out of American society for hundreds of years, longer than that, I'm sure, it existed. That's targeted women, it's targeted femicide. It's disgusting, and it needs to stop. And the way we stop it, I don't know. I don't, but I know that being together is the first step, and talking about it is important. We can't let this conversation be dominated by the 40 flyers that took off State Street this morning talking about how, I want to kill children or something. To the average person, the average Madisonian, it's ridiculous. But to a person who might want to kill somebody, it's not. And I think that's good to keep in mind, that these messages sometimes aren't just messages. They're code. They're telling people what to do. They're telling people that drag shows are dangerous when they're not. They're telling people that trans people are dangerous when we're not. And people are afraid and people don't know what to believe, and they believe that if they don't hear anything different. And we're standing outside Wisconsin State Capitol, and terrible things happen in there constantly. Constantly. I think last session they tried to pass a bunch of bills like limit learning about gender or race in schools. I'm sure that would make this much worse. I'm sure having Michael as the governor would make this worse in regards to killing trans kids when we talk about health care, when we talk about social supports, when we target children who need health care, when we target adults even who need health care. We know it's going to happen, and they know it's going to happen, and we have to tell them no. And that's about all I have to say. Thanks for being here, y'all.
Hi. So I just want to talk real quick about too many trans people are killed, and then as a final injustice, they are buried under the wrong headstone, in the wrong clothing. And that is unacceptable. But there's a thing that we can do as trans people to stop this. And I have forms here that can help, several copies. Basically, it's a form for Wisconsin that says, this is what I want. I want to be buried in this way, with this name. And it's a legal form. You have either 2 witnesses or a notary, and they will come and make sure that that happens for you, so that you are not buried under your dead name in the wrong clothing that you do not want, or the religious service you don't want. You won't want that, which, you know.
I can share a story about that.
Yeah.
So, a personal story about how it affects people that are still living with you when you watch someone being buried, or, well, in this case, I had to go to a funeral that was, they had it cremated, because being attacked so much for just being all cis homosexual man had gotten to be too much, and other various issues. But I knew my friend TJ much better. My family was considered his adoptive family, and his family was considered estranged. And they put together his funeral. So it was horrendously tragic with how misinformed they were. My family kept our manners and respected his biological family, but ultimately they didn't know his religious affiliation, which he was also pagan. They did not know the extent of his position in the LGBTQ community where we're from. He had this very minimized view by his family. They barely accepted him for being homosexual. And it was really tragic with what they did. It was just sad. It was really misinformed. But back to the clothing. It was something that I most recently learned is that if you do not have these kind of forms, you do not specify, and you were assigned female at birth, they will bury you with a bra on. That's how intensely misinformed and bigoted so many people can be in the wake of your death, is that they will forcefully gender you in your casket. So it's, yeah, but they will always put makeup on you regardless to make it look lively. Oh God. Landon's telling me about putting lipstick on people. But to wrap up everything, we're going to be doing our candle lighting, and I will be having a song played that speaks about the missing and murdered Indigenous people. So please join us for lighting candles.
me hold on to this? Sorry, I'll move so I can take this.
I will put the forms up on the table over here for anyone who wants it. Just a little message. This is forms over there. I also would like to highlight the center of the memorial here. So the book, the candles in the center are to represent the community behind the community. And we have some candles from 13 years ago, all 100%. The people, executives, and I think they are possible. We are in the children will be there to do it. People will be able to do that.
Justice ain't suffer a lot of our sisters. Missing murdered indigenous, what we talk about right now. What we see them tell these helping them keep people out.
also, all the college-age kids are like at college. Like, what's the deal with that? And so it's been lonely, sort of. But I was here 3 weeks ago, Halloween weekend, to just like come up and hang out in here. This we could like officially like look at an apartment, but yeah. Actually, it was just like randomly looking at like the GFCC housing limits, and there was like something like from that day. Like, hey, to start something in January. It's, you know Aaliyah. She was at she did trans model at the very least last year. Last year, I only got two. Yeah.
Like, you say the same shit to every single thing that I say. But, are you on Facebook? Yeah.
That's about it, y'all.
Hey, nothing's official yet, but I can tell you that you will be in open house. Just 'cause, like, people do not nice. Single gender floors, and looking at the housing website, is the favorite of student athletes, such as runners and crew.